The reason people are stuck in addiction is because they believe in God. That's what causes that's the greatest addiction we have. And it causes the cigarettes, the alcohol, all of the other addictions. And you go to AA, and who do they say to trust?
God.
The very idiot that got you into the place.
Almost like the first thing.
But I'm just saying that maybe this thing called AA worked for the first person who came through. What about the poor other millions of suckers that went through there? AA doesn't have, they have what, an 8 or 10% success rate? And those are the ones that would have done it themselves. If you got to have AA, then you got to have a God. They go hand in hand. Oh, you can't do it yourself. You got to. Can you stand up by yourself on your own?
Yes.
Well, then you don't need AA or anybody else to save you, do you? Except Russ.
What if you're in a wheelchair?
Stand up out of the wheelchair.
For some reason, if you just walk away, if you can just walk away from it, you can do that. I mean, it's there. But the thing is that when you have groups like AA, and you have things like police that tell you that are going to arrest you and things like that, that actually prevents you from being able to stop because those...
On your own.
Right, because those...
We could have a whole long conversation about the millions and millions and millions of people who would have already had their lives for themselves if there hadn't been doctors, wives, husbands, children around to save them. Of course, there's been probably a lot of them that died as well. But I'm saying that when you get into a place of facing death, if you face it on your own by yourself, you have a possibility.
Is that what it means to be alone? To be by yourself? A lone person, a lone individual?
Is what it means.
Standing up on your own by yourself, doing it yourself, not having a crutch, not having a support group.
Exactly.
Not having a belief in a higher power, but being completely alone with nothing to
push that down?
Nothing to lean on or.
Exactly. How many of you have ever had the experience of being alone?
Yeah, I think so.
Because we're alone. Bottom line, there's only one of us.
Yes.
Nobody else is with us. The total and complete experience of alone is a fantastic experience because then you actually discover what it is. That's the place you discover that you can transform the planet because you're the only one on it. You get that? You're the only one on this planet. You're alone. And nobody can help you. We can have all this false stuff called penicillin and all these things pick you up and all this other stuff. But it's aloneness that we are. Some of you who we have had conversation with hear me talk about this thing called fusion. That's a possibility that lives and it hasn't happened. But fusion is the only place where aloneness will ever disappear. Fusion will take place when there are two people, one mind, two motions, one direction, without the individual, without the thought of it. Even the description of it is dangerous because then people start saying, well, let me see if I can do
Trying
it.
to find it, how to do it.
What have you seen it? I mean,
I've seen it.
I've seen it too. That's what I'm saying. What have you seen it? I mean, that's not.
Then you see what it takes to.
I don't see what it takes to do that, but
You have to be perfect.
I've seen what it looks like.
It needs to be perfect.
And then see if I could try to explain it, but everybody would get it wrong. I guess if I tried to explain what it looks like what you just explained right there, people aren't going to understand what you're talking about. They see side by side walking. They think of literally people walking side by side.
Read Khalil Gibran had a pretty decent, a neat way of describing it. He described it as two pillars holding the same weight equally, without either asking the other for some. I don't know. It's been 30 years since I read it, probably, but he had a perfect way of describing what it is. Merrill?
Do you disappear when you are one?
Yes. There is no you, actually. You don't want anything. There's none of that.
No desires.
No desires. But there is.
There's just the body.
Yeah, there is an incompletion because we're incomplete. See, this stuff gets difficult. We are broken individually. So there needs to be a fusion of self. There needs to be the mind-body fusion to come together with self. Once that happens, there's this thing of being complete. Until you actually discover your aloneness, then you'll realize you're not complete. Complete takes male, female. But it takes it from the place called fusion, which is deterred by the place called marriage, partnership, relationship, all of those things. All of those things deter that which you could call the fusing of two.
You have the supposed to in there.
Because you have the supposed to, you have the letter, you have the commitment,
Believe.
you have the all of that. I take
The
thee to be
roles.
my lawful wedded slave, and oh no, it's wife, isn't it?
No, it's-
I get confused. And you will take my name, and you'll disappear from the planet. Right.
Huh?
Well, isn't like every sort of belief based on the truth? And then
Exactly.
it got side, so there is a semi-truth in all
Look
of that.
inside of it. Look inside of every lie spoken, and you'll discover a truth. And when you discover it, it will be a tiny grain. But once you discover it, that grain becomes the 99% that has a lie in it.
Right.
Because then it'll
I've seen that
transform.
in some of the things that
It'll
people
transform.
say, oh, that's an awful thing, whatever it is. I mean, like, I don't know when it was like, sacrificing yourself for another. Well, yeah, that's not the right thing to do, but you can see that that's what you need to do, you know, that little teeny bit. But
Unless you
but
do it.
we've taken it, yeah, well, but we've taken it into a belief
To a belief.
and tried to do it with manipulation and the whole thing.
That's what religions did with marriage. They wanted to make that a fusion,
Right.
a unit, and they drove a wedge in between there. It's like the same thing. It's like believing in a God. But the moment you believe in a God, if there's a God, you'll never ever meet that entity. Why? Because you'll keep hitting the belief.